Hey everybody, John the Other here, obviously. And it has been a couple of weeks since I recorded a video, and I guess the usual thing for people to do is give some kind of self-serving, congratulatory apology, announcing how awfully busy they've been, which is always boring. So rather than do that, I'll just say, for those of you who actually wanted to watch my videos, sorry I haven't uploaded them, and for everybody else, I'm back, and that's really unfortunate for you. But that box back there is one of the things that kept me busy. I'm going to just bring it up here and show it to you for a second. This is a box of printed out articles organized by month. And all of these articles are written about one person over a period of about a year or 2 years. That one person, every single one of those articles is telling the reader what a terrible person they are, that they're a sexual pervert, that they're a creep, that they're a weirdo, that they're a predator, that they're a threat to the community, that women are not safe, that we've got to keep women safe, blah, 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 blah. And all of it, every single line of it, barring a few very careful omissions, is false. The person described in all these articles, and there's about 150, I would guess, was exonerated by a court. And in spite of that, the mainstream media in Canada, including the CBC, has indulged in this multi-year campaign of slander and abuse against this unfortunate individual. They have not yet committed suicide. There's a good chance they won't. But this is one person. And this is a person subjected to the brigade, the mobbing behavior of the campus feminist social justice vigilante mob, the Me Too mob. This is just one person. All these articles. Now, I in addition to researching and printing off all those articles, I ended up writing a little piece of software so that I could keep track of which articles I'd already printed off and which ones I hadn't, to prevent myself from printing off multiple copies. That's also part of what kept me busy for the last couple of weeks. But again, I'm going to say this over and over. That's just one person. There are multiple people that Lighthouse, the project I have some involvement with, has dealt with. Multiple people being attacked and brigaded in this fashion through the media, through whisper campaigns, through social media, through the mainstream, including the CBC, in news reporting, on television, being brigaded over accusations that, in spite of the fact that after they are explored and investigated and turn out to be false, and in some cases actually disproven in a court, our media, our journalists, the people responsible for keeping governments in check, at least that was the traditional role of the media, engage in this mobbing, vindictive, scourging behavior. Once accused, once you've been targeted by the feminist mob, by this social justice mob, they will monitor you for multiple years to prevent you from working in the field of your profession. And then when you go get a job far below your skill level, below your professional accomplishments, like driving Uber or working in a kitchen, they will contact the company that you work for, re-accuse you, and deprive you of that job too. You won't be allowed to be a person. They'll take control of your identity. You won't be allowed to secure food for yourself. You won't be allowed to obtain housing. You won't be allowed to live as a public person anymore. And this ethic, this practice is cheered, and the people congratulate each other for their successes in unpersoning the targets of these feminist mobs. I can't tell you the names of these people because there's still people who are at risk. Some of them are going to die by suicide. Some of them are going to die in the cold when they're sleeping under bridges in the winter because they're homeless. And this is the price we are paying for Me Too. Now, I've mentioned Me Too a couple of times. I also watched recently a debate between a couple of different flavors of feminist lawyers talking about what are we going to do in the post-Me Too world. Has Me Too gone too far? And the consensus, and almost everybody who spoke was female, of course, other than audience members, and they were the ones that were allowed to speak were, of course, Me Too is very important, but what about this? And in spite of the fact that they mentioned people being falsely accused, having the accusations revealed to be false, and then still killing themselves, the consensus among the lawyers who should be, alert to the discarding of due process, the discarding of presumed innocence, they seem to be quite delighted because Me Too is a very important and interesting conversation that our society is now having. It's an important conversation. That I thought that was pretty funny because it doesn't actually look like a conversation. To me, it looks like a slow motion slaughter. The people targeted by the mob, by the Me Too lynch mob, and that's really a facile way to say it, but it's hard to figure out something that's strong enough to encompass how absolutely unjust and cruel and depraved that it actually is. They seem to think that the unpersoning of vast numbers of human beings who happen not to be in their sexual demographic is perfectly fine. That's a perfectly reasonable price to pay, because they're not going to pay it, somebody else will, to have an interesting conversation. Because apparently the courts don't work. So that's what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, and I need to get back on schedule uploading videos. If you do feel like donating money, don't do it to my channel. Give it to Lighthouse. There's a link to that, the donation link, PayPal or Patreon in the low bar. Thanks very much for listening, and as always, have a lovely day.